Welcome to Unity Through Diversity. I am your host, Gina Anayana. Unity Through Diversity is a podcast where we acknowledge and celebrate individuals' unique soul gifts through each guest's personal story in order to empower and encourage you to recognize and reclaim the uniqueness in your own soul frequencies. So we, as a collective, can truly embrace unity through diversity in our life. Enjoy the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Unity Through Diversity. And today, I don't have a special guest, and the special guest is myself. So today, on this episode, I'm going to talk about how to transform your relationship with love and compassion. So I would call it conscious decoupling. There are so many ways of saying this term. Somebody will say conscious uncoupling, or you can say how to divorce in a beautiful way. I do not know, but what resonated with me is consciously decoupling, and that was the term I used during my transformation with my own marriage 2 years ago, and it has been a while. I always had this intention to share this journey with you guys. And I got the permission from my ex-partner who also is my girl's father. The last year on his 40 years birthday, and I asked his permission to share how we transformed our relationship. So this is a heavy and also light topic. Now, why I say heavy is because when we talk about divorce, when we talk about decoupling, I would say so many people would think about fighting, right? With lawyers, with pointing fingers, and with anger, resentment, and judgment, and this and that, childhood custody, alimony, child support, whatever it is this D word has such a power that collectively we already kind of like created this figure, created this energy. Whenever you see this D word, it doesn't matter. It just has such a heavy energy. That's why I do not use divorce. I use decoupling. Because long time ago, even before I started this transformational process, I know there's a different way to do this thing. And you know what? Personally, I was the one that so fixated on that there's a different way to transform the marriage when you're not supposed to be together, or when you realize you're not a perfect match together. And in this episode, it will be 2 episodes or 3 episodes, depends on how long I would go in each episode. But I plan on go every episode around 30 minutes. So at least it will be 2 episodes, okay? So first of all, I have some disclaimer. Like I said, first of all, I already asked permission to share this story. And I want to let you guys know it's not about me or him, about whoever is involved. It's about this experience. So please do me a favor. Do not match people in this podcast, because I love him dearly. I love him. I will always love him. So don't get me wrong, okay? So it's about experience. I love this person, so I want, share the experience, but not pull this person inside, okay? Because you got to know that it takes 2 people to make things happen. So I want to take my ownership. That's exactly what I want to say. The second part is, this is my personal experience. It worked for me. It might work for you. I have no idea. But I will never know if I don't share my story. I don't share how I transform my relationship. And if I don't share, there will not be possibility for you. Because if you don't see there's a possibility, and you never saw it as a possibility, and you never know it could happen. You will not do that. And this is why I'm sitting in front of the camera and recording this episode, is because I know it's possible, but it's my personal experience. So do not keep your mind open and take the information in if you resonate. If you do not resonate, move on, okay? Skip it to next episode, or just change to something else to listen and enjoy. Now, number 3, follow from the second one, which is, I mentioned, is personal experience. So, which means it's not for everyone. Everybody's family dynamic is different. Now, in my situation, I have 2 girls. When I started the process, they are 7. What actually? They are 6 and 4. Oh my goodness, that's I started 2020. So they are 6 and 4 years old. They are pretty young. Now they are 8 and 6. And it took me 2 years to share this story with you guys. And it's definitely not for everybody. So do not judge yourself and do not blame yourself if you could not do that. It's not for everyone. So I just want you to be aware of that. Now, number 4, I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor. I'm an intuitive healer, okay? I do energy work. I believe that everything is energy. That I believe that if you set intention, universe is going to manifest your intention with you. Now, this is going to bring to, if we clear on number 4, that I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to persuade you. I'm not here to ask you to agree with me. If we clear on that, now lead to the intention, which is really, really important. It took me years to understand that everything started with intention. Now, every single day, I would say every single healing session I go through, every single person I met, every single event I went to, I set intention. You can, if you want to laugh at me, you can. But this is how I live my life right now, with intention. So with this relationship transformation, I had this clear intention. I did not know where it come from, but my intention was transform this relationship with love and compassion. I have no idea at that time, actually, to be honest. Like, if you asked me 3 years ago, what's it really mean? Wasn't really means the compassion. I probably gonna mix the concept of empath and compassion, because I'm an empath. I feel everything. I'm very sensitive. People, my girl's father usually laugh at me. He's like, "Is it full moon yet?" Because he can sense my emotional swing and emotional. And at that time, I just did not know how to navigate my emotion and how to acknowledge my emotion and work with my emotion. So that's kind of something funny to say. Is like, he's like, "Is this full moon yet?" Or "Is this full moon?" Because he will definitely identify that my emotion gonna swing. So I would definitely an empath, I would say. I'm still an empath. But along the healing journey last 3 years, I understand that the differences between empath and compassion, okay? So the empath is you feel everything, and also somehow this feeling will stuck with you. You will get upset if people going through what you went through, and the worst part is, or the most important part is, what people are going through are still something you going through. So you feel these people, but you also resonated with the people, but also you would input more energy to interact with the energies that they put out there, okay? So you will feel drained, you will feel tired. Now the compassion is different. I always share with people is compassion as this clear bubble, okay? Empath is a little bubble stick on a finger, and you cannot blow away, it stick with you. Now, when you have compassion, when you to the compassion stage is you can see what people are going through. You can relate, you can feel them, but it doesn't stick with you. It's called compassion, okay? And compassion have different level. But in this video, I'm not talking about that. If you're interested, let me know. So I share you guys that my intention was transform this relationship with love and compassion. And before I share with you guys what's the steps or how we did it, I want to share with you guys that why I need to transform this relationship. Now, before I get to my own reason, I want to let you know that do not judge yourself for why you need to get out of the relationship. I would tell you know that deeply down in your heart, you know whether the relationship serves you. And to be honest, let me tell you one thing. You know exactly why you, at first place, get into this relationship. Correct or incorrect? Now, I cannot speak of your experience, but let me share with you my experience of why I get into this marriage and at first place. And maybe you can look back into yourself of like, yeah, I did the same thing, or maybe you have a different story. But this is not you judge me or I judge you. Like I said, this is my personal experience. It doesn't matter how you get into it. It always have a storyline. And tonight, I'm here to share with you how did I get into this marriage. And it's going to bring up this 30 years old version of me. Now, so funny. When I was in my 20s, I always say that, hey, I want to get married and have kids when I was 30. And the universe is literally conspiring with me. And I want to let you know that be careful what you manifest, what you're asking for, okay? Because the universe wants you to get whatever you ask for. So be careful what you ask for, okay? So in my 20s, I always said, oh, I want to get married and have kids and when I was 30. And I got it. I got it. However, at that time, me and my girl's father, at that time, we were dating. And we were in the stage of getting to know each other. And obviously, I already sensed that there are certain parts of our perspective or our view of certain values and this and that personality and how we get along. We still have things to work through. And now, however, universe have its own way of putting things together. And when I look back right now, is I see where we at, and things unfold in its own way because it served for everybody. I have no clear answer to tell you why things happened exactly. It happened, but things happened. So let me tell you the story of what happened, so we can continue this healing journey, right? Back in 2013, after I graduated from SVSU, I moved back to Beijing. And at that time, I acknowledged that me and my girl's father, at that time we were still dating, he's my boyfriend. That I realized that even though I love him dearly, I acknowledged that we still have something to work through. So when I moved back to Beijing, I told him that I don't really do long distance relationship. That if he feel called to, move to Beijing, I have 3 months for him. And he moved to Beijing in 2 months. Now, hopefully this episode, whoever is listening, is older enough. However, I would say the first day he got to Beijing, and the love story happens, right? A couple weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. Now, I'm not sure whether I'm oversharing, but I just let you guys know that when it's your time, it's your time. Why would I say that is that time we have all the safety protection. However, my daughter still jumped in. And that's how our journey started. So thank you. my baby girl. It meant to happen because we did what we could, and the baby determined to come, and she surely made her way, and now we have two beautiful girls, right? So that's a little funny story that maybe I can share in different episode or whatever. But anyway, I got pregnant. I realized I was pregnant, and it was such a shock. And I cannot tell you how shocked I was. And I did not know what to do. And just give you a little bit background information that I'm originally from China. And back 10 years ago, 12 years ago, if you ask me, would you choose to be a single parent? Or would you choose to, single parent, which means could be, you're not married, have kids. That was totally out of my understanding or out of my choice. I would never, ever would choose to be a single parent because it's not accepted by culturally and it's not accepted by my own belief system. Okay? So I want you to really understand where I come from because it's very critical when I realize that I am my own creator in my own life, that I chose every single step in my life. Then when I choose to transform my relationship, my marriage, I realize I need to take my ownership. Okay? So in China, pregnant without marriage is such a shame. Okay? And if people pregnant is definitely going to marry the person who gets you pregnant. No question. I mean, just something was not in my field that I would think of. So at that time, I understand that girl's father, he was not ready. I was not ready either, by the way. But however, when a woman pregnant with child, somehow the physical change, their mind change as well. Even though I know I was not ready to be a single mother, but somehow my body, my everything is telling me that I'm ready to be a mother. So right after we figured out that I was pregnant, we actually kind of fighting over what is the decision, because I need to be very mindful of how I share this message, because maybe one day my girl, they would listen to this episode. So I just want to let them know is, mommy, daddy, we sincerely appreciate it and I love you guys. You are a gift of God for sure. I 100% sure, because I had abortion before. So, and that's another story. Everybody keeps a different perspective of abortion, which if you guys interested, I can share my experience of that, and I can talk about current abortion, policy, fighting in the United States, whatever, because I went through. So I have my perspective, I have my voice to share. But on this episode, I'm not going to go there. So I just want to be mindful to share this story. That time I would say both of us, we were not ready. But for mother, when they're pregnant, they automatically prepare themselves to be ready to being a mother role. And however, girl's father, he was not ready. I can understand his fear and shock and not ready. Now, however, we moved on. We moved back to the United States. A couple months later, I quit my job in Beijing, moved back to Michigan as a full-time mother, and we got married in 2013, that October. Because I was pregnant with the first child for 6 months, and I didn't feel like I want to have a wedding, because Wedding to me is it's like celebration, dance, and celebrate with friends. And at that time, I was 6 months pregnant. I definitely feel like I could not really enjoy my own wedding. So we didn't really have a big wedding. We married in the church. We went to, I think, Xander's Splash Village had nights whatsoever. Now, however, I want to circle back to those potential factor that we did not work through, and it planted seed in the marriage. I just want to let you know, if as a first place you marry somebody, it's because of other factors, because of you're pregnant, because of financial issue, because of your insecurity, I can guarantee you 100% this marriage is not gonna last long enough. 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 14 years. Eventually, it will fall apart. And I am the test of the part of not figuring out our own thing because of pregnancy, that we got together and thought through marriage we can work things out. I'm not saying you cannot work things out after you're married, but I'm just saying through my personal experience, I didn't get a chance to work things out. It's because baby number 1 comes and baby number 2 in 2 years. And that time, girl's father is fully put his energies on work because he's has to support the family, right? Because I was full-time mother, and in the United States, it's really interesting thing is, the couple has to take care of kids. Either you send to daycare, 3-4 weeks after you give birth to baby, send to the daycare. I just could not accept that, my personal experience. I'm not judging you guys who send the baby to the daycare when they are 4 weeks old. I'm not judging. It's just in my culture, where I'm from, that I just can't do that. So I made a commitment to myself and to my kids that the first 6 years of their life, I will be fully commit and full-time be in their life. I don't know where that come from, but I stick with that. So I quit my job in Beijing, moved back, and I didn't take any part-time job whatsoever. I was fully being a mother. And during that couple years, being a full-time mom, I realized the side effect or the process of giving my power away when I was not making financial contribution is such a big factor or big part why our marriage did not last. There's different reasons, okay? I'm analyzing my own marriage. So hopefully something that through my analyzing, that you can resonate some of them. And if not, it's okay. I'm just here to share my experience. Now, first of all, is the balance of work and life. Now, girl's father is fully 100%, I would say 90% with work, and I was 90% with raising babies. And you got to know me. If you know my background a little bit, I was working in sales marketing for 7 years before I come to the United States to get my business degree. And after I graduated from SVSU, get my BBA, I went back to China. I got to work for an international recruiting company as a consultant. So I always was a business woman and a very sociable, stuff like that. And drop into the full-time mother, fully back into the family life. I basically, from 100% or 90% of work to 90% of family life. This pendulum swing, right? Swing to the left, boom, I swing to the right. And here I am, a full-time mom. And When you, all the mothers who's listening to the podcast, you know what I'm talking about, right? You will have mom bum with PJ. Sometimes you don't really wash your face until, I don't know, 2 p.m. or whatever it is, because you don't need to go anywhere. You just be home with the kids, diaper, breastfeeding, making food, cleaning the house, doing the laundry, walking the dog, anything but yourself, okay? So I literally went through deep this motherhood on a spectrum that from totally businesswoman to totally full-time mother. Now, how you share a story is very important. That's why I said I acknowledge girl's father was for 100% or 99% of putting his energy to the work, and also we all had agreement that I understand he was not ready for the first child when I was pregnant, and he still was not ready for the second girl came out, but he catch up. He did his best, and he's still doing his best. So I just want to honor that. And now the part I want to share is the part that how I lost myself in the process from full businesswoman to full mom, okay, full-time mom. And also acknowledge that when we get married is because we pregnant, and we acknowledge that something that we have not worked out. And it's the thing we have not worked out, we already shared, is personality, the perspective, and the value of the life, and this and that. So 4 years in, marriage in, to the point I realized that something's not working. Something I thought gonna work it out is not working. And I realized things not working to actually I make the action to decouple this relationship. It took another almost 3 years. And you would ask me, Gina, why you took so long? Now this has a lot of things to say. It took me a while to understand how I lost my power in the whole process. I want to remind you that you are 50% of the happiness you guys created, and you are also this 50% of the pain that you created together. So take the ownership. At the end of 2017, after I back from China, that I realized that I'm ready to start my online business. I just ready to get back to the business world. When our younger daughter, she was a little bit over a year and a half old. And that was the starting point of I was reclaiming my power by stepping into the workforce, by reconnecting with society, by putting my talents and gifts into the world. And that's also the starting point of a lot of things shifted, that the confusion causing the family, in the relationship, the understanding, and this and that. Now, what I was thinking that time, I was thinking that, for me to have voice in the family, I need to be financially stable. And I do not want to rely on any other people. So what's the best way? The best way is starting my own business, right? Because I want to have a voice. And to me, at that time, understanding to have voice is to have my own business, to get myself financially grounded and supported. So I started my online business, which is matching outfit, which is baby bamboo. I still have it. And unfortunately, I'm going to actually close this business end of this year because it serves the purpose. For the last 5 years, I can't believe it's been 5 years. So by 2019, which was the dark night of my soul, then I realized that I have my own fear of stepping out of this relationship. This relationship was my security blanket for the things I didn't want to deal with. Now, if you are in the transformation stage of your relationship, I invite you to look into what's the worst thing could happen if you step out of the relationship that you know that doesn't serve you, that you know that you two are on the separate different paths. I'm not talking about this person did this, you're wrong, this person did that, you're wrong, I did this wrong to that person. I'm not talking about that, because it's not about this person do this to you or this to you. It's when you really understand how the energy works, how the relationship works. It's like the other person is a mirror. The other person is come in your life to teach you a certain lesson. So it's not about this person. It's about the experience, this lesson that this person bring to you. That's why I never ever want to point to my girl's father, because the more I love myself, I love him. I love his soul. So back in 2019, when I reached to the bottom of my own darkness part, which was I would not allow myself to go even deeper, because if you go deeper than that, you must exit. And I have to confess that I had this suicide thoughts. I didn't do that because that time Bailey and Ruby, they were so young that I just couldn't leave them. And thank goodness I didn't do that. I had just this hopeless, desperate, and that I just couldn't do it. And that was things start turning. And I stepped into my healing journey to start to ask myself who I truly am, why I'm here, how did I get here, and how can I move on? I literally asked myself, and I started to analyzing myself. I started to study myself. I started to understanding and learning myself and loving myself and caring for myself. And I started to cultivating the self-care and self-love practice, and I started to really study those patterns and limiting beliefs. And at 2019, I realized that it's me. It's me. I chose. I mean, I got pregnant. I had no choice because we did what we could, and then baby jumping, right? But after that, I could choose to be a single parent. I just did not have this gut to choose to be a single parent because of my cultural barrier, because the collective trauma in China that is not acceptable, and I did not feel that I had a choice. That 30 years old version of me, that she didn't feel she had a choice, and I honor her. But when I was thinking about leaving the relationship, it freaked me out. Now, if you guys listen to my podcast episode before, the episode name called "I Chose to Be Born This Way," I shared my personal story of how I was born in China, and this and that. If you're interested, go to find that episode. But I had a story in my head was my parents did not love me, that they abandoned me, even though they did not. Actually, I chose to left them, or I chose to move away from them. But that time, a version of me, 3, 4, 5 years ago, version of me is deeply believed that my parents didn't love me, deeply believed that they abandoned me. And when I was full-time mom, for me to leave the relationship, I always question myself, can I financially support myself? So I have 2 fears. Fear number 1, self-abandoned. Before, I thought my parents didn't love me, they abandoned me. But now I marry one person, this person that have big family, warm family, that I realize that if I leave this relationship, I have risk of losing the whole family. Because you know how divorce goes, right? In the relationship, you might lose the whole family. Am I willing to abandon myself to detach from this loving family? Now, the second of all, will I be financially supported? It's a real question. And those 2 fears that prevent me to step into transform our relationship. And it definitely held power over me for a couple years until 2020. Believe it or not, it's so funny, but it's not funny. The reason I do aesthetic dance, the reason I offer aesthetic dance in community, the reason I offer hero's journey aesthetic dance in the community is because this specific aesthetic dance changed my life. And how it changed my life? Before I went into the aesthetic dance, I was still debating whether should I now do this divorce thing? Should I transform this relationship? I still hold the fear. After I went through this hero's journey aesthetic dance, I clearly, I see myself on the other side of the tunnel, on the spiritual level. When I came out of this dance thing, I realized that it's possible. It's possible. I can do that. After I back from Austin, I started the process. It was freaking scary. And because that time I have business involved, I have to find a lawyer. All know that you need a lawyer, right? You don't need a lawyer actually. If you work with a partner, you have a mediation, you have people draft this thing, but you do not need lawyers on both sides. And then I think this one I will share in the second part of the thing is like how to choose your lawyer, what kind of lawyer works with you, and how to navigate the process. But this episode, I just want to give you guys the background story, what was my intention, what was my fear of decoupling in the decoupling process, and it's something that definitely I would not suggest you to do that if you're not knowing what you're really doing, and what you're not knowing, this thing is gonna add into your complication of your decoupling process. So because I have a business, so I had to find a lawyer and keep going in the process. Now, however, before I decide to find a lawyer, because of my fear of those two fears I just mentioned, that we were both of us, because if I have my own fear, my girl's father also has his sides of things he's working on, whatever it is. If one day he want to share, I let him share, but I'm not going to share for him, okay? So, but I know that he has his side, and I have my side. So that time when we realize that we know it doesn't serving us, but we also did not want to go to this decoupling process. We explored different way of how to maintain this relationship, which means not decoupled, still together, but we still have our freedom. Now, in the process, actually, I explored the open relationship because there are people out there doing open relationship. So if you do not know the open relationship, I would definitely invite you to Google that. And however, I would like to say the open relationship requires a lot of trust from the couple, the original couple. If you're a husband, wife, if you want to have an open relationship, you two have to communicate very well. Whatever this wife have, whoever the partner, the man is also acknowledged, and the man actually knows this guy. They will be involved in the family. And for the guy, if he has the partner out there, the woman also have to be acknowledged. So those two have to have very great this foundation and acknowledgement to aware that you have partner and you have partner. Okay, so I'm not saying open relationship doesn't work. It's still working for other people. And it might work for you if you decide to try open relationship before you step into decoupling, or you step into maybe strengthen your relationship, who knows, right? But my case, I realized that we were using open relationship actually to avoiding the real issue in this marriage, which we all know that I know that I need to leave this security blanket to face my own shadow this year or next year or whatever. This year be my lifetime thing I need to work through before I move on to next lesson. I know for sure after I tried an open relationship, or I didn't even want to say even I tried. I would say I attempted to try this open relationship. At a very early stage, I realized, no. This doesn't work for me. And this definitely brought up a lot of insecurity in the relationship that I have with girl's father. I'm not saying his fault or my fault, okay? Again, it just doesn't work because I already know what's my fear for leaving this relationship. And he also clearly know what is his shadow. So if we at this moment to calling in another person or another two person in our life is only going to complicate the situation. It's not going to serve any of us. So when I acknowledge that, I call a stop. I end the relationship with this very short period of time that is not working. And I had a conversation with girl's father, which was that, you know what? From now on, I'm going to focus on decoupling this relationship. And I will not date anybody, not just for, hey, make you feel safe, whatever. I really felt that was not the point of my life to date anybody before I could figure out this decoupling process. And I think that commitment is actually played a very, very deep important role of decoupling process is be present with your partner. Now, I always share with people, if you and this person took 2 or 3 years to get together, why would you think it only take 1 month to decouple with this person? Is that fair? So if I spend 3 years be with the person, or if our marriage lasts 7 years, at least I want to give 7 months of time to be fully in the decoupling process because this person deserves that. I deserve that. Our relationship deserves that. Okay? So if you are in the decoupling process, I will really, really invite you to be present, be with this partner, to respect this relationship, to honor that relationship. And this is very important. And I think this played a key role in our transformation journey. Okay? Now, I shared, right, my fear. And the thing couldn't work out, and we tried to find different way of alternative way of keeping this marriage without working on our own shit, which didn't work. And at that time, you're probably gonna ask me, well, Gina, why did I not go to the mediation? Have counseling. Actually, the counseling. I cannot tell you why exactly. But that time, the counseling was not accepted for both of us. So if you are in the process of counseling, go try it, okay? We didn't do it because for some reason, neither of us that time was at the right place for the counseling. So it's not say counseling not working. It just, it did not work for us. Then I think I'm going to stop right here. And in next episode, I will share with you guys that those steps of what we took after we got a lawyer, because I shared with you, end of July 2020, I came back from Austin after aesthetic dance. Then I found a lawyer because I have business. And the journey started from there. From there, we went into a 7 months of transformational journey that it definitely had some roller coaster ride, but it also, at a certain point, we have a turning point, and we closed off in a very love, compassion way. And I would like to leave that to the second part of episodes. After this episode, we'll share with you guys of what does this 7 months look like, and what made this, where this turning point come up, and how did we transformed with love, compassion, and you will hear a lot of details of some, tantrum. I would say, child throw tantrum, right? When you start a process, a lot of things are going to come up and come out, and how you can hold a space for each other, how to hold that intention in your mind, how to have conscious communication, and how to make agreement, and how to have this conscious communication when you in such this hard place, right? But in this episode, I hopefully the message I try to share with you guys is, I have to make the conclusion. Okay, it's a summary for this episode. Like I said at the beginning, is because this is my personal story, and this is the story from my end. If you ask girl's father, he'd probably have different story as how I share the story. But I try to stay in the neutral place, just share my side of the story of how I felt and this and that. So I would say is, this episode, I would say is, take the ownership, my ownership of, after reflection, I realized that nobody put a gun on my head and say, hey, Gina, you have to marry this person. Actually, it was my choice. I actually asked him to marry me. So I want to honor this beautiful, brave soul that even though that time he was shocked, he was not ready, but he stood up for himself and for this family, and he stood up for this relationship and stand right in front of me and agreed to this agreement or contract, or however you call it, and step into this 10 years journey with me. 7 years married, 3 years know each other. So I just want to honor this beautiful soul that for the commitment he had with me, and in the process of this 10 years, we acknowledge each other. We definitely have up and downs. However, that as a certain stage that when I realized one part of, two parties, right? But one part realized that, oh, it doesn't serve us. And I realized that I have my own shadow. So I would like to decouple because I can working on my own stuff. And when we were together, because we have this safe blanket, that if I understand that if I'm with him, move on, whatever, I will never ever be able to face my insecurity with my fears, with my shadow. The more I love him, and the more I understand that I need to work on my own stuff, that I decided to move on to the decoupling process. But I moved to the decoupling process is not because I don't love him as who he is. I love him dearly on his soul level, but I also understand that that's the lesson I was learning. I gave my power away. It's time for me to face my own shadow of fear and reclaim my power by decouple this marriage. And maybe one day we come back, but at this point of my life, I understand clearly that he has his things to work on, I have my things to work on, and the decoupling is the only way. And but how to decouple? You have choice. And in the second episode, I will share with you guys how we consciously decouple this relationship, and how we reach to this love, compassion, understanding, co-parenting style. And I still have beautiful relationship with his parents. I still call them mom, dad. I still have close relationship with his family, that I feel even more free to join them for the holiday. And if I couldn't make it, I don't have to blame myself, right? So thanks for tuning in to this episode of Unity Through Diversity. And for next episode, I will share next week of how we transform this relationship with love and compassion, all the process, all the do's, not do's from my personal experience, okay? So I love you guys so much, and have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Unity Through Diversity. I will see you in next episode coming soon. Take care, and I love you.